Good morning, people. Good morning. This is Spirit Journey. Yes, happy Saturday morning. Yes, hello, morning talk of the day. Yes, today's Saturday, May 7th, 2022, and the time is approximately 6:04 a.m. in the morning. And today's sunrise was at 5:40, was at 5:47 today. How wonderful. Yes. Happy sunrise. Happy sunrise. It is raining outside. The clouds are real overcast, as you can see. Very overcast. I hope you guys could hear me talk. I hear the birds chirping. This really is a splendid time of the day. I cracked open the window, and it's a nice breeze out there. So, yes, I hope you all are doing well. Yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. Who's out there? Hope you're all bright eyed and bushy tailed this lovely Saturday morning in New York City. Yes, very nice. I enjoy days like this. I enjoy a day like this and to be indoors and just relax, be introspective. I enjoy it very much. So, today, what I'm going to talk about today, um, well, I want to talk about two things primarily. But with my live streams, that I could like talk about a number of topics. But the main two topics that I want to talk about that's on my mind, um, the vision for the day that I had. Many of you know that when I wake up in the morning, I do this practice of this type of meditation that I developed. Um, I started it around 2017, and what I do upon awakening from sleeping or dreaming, I lie still in bed and keep my eyes closed. That's the key thing. Keep your eyes closed. Don't open them when you awake. And as if you're just steering through your eyelids, your closed eyelids, and you get. I hope you guys can hear me too. Yeah. Tell me if you can hear me. Just trying to get comfortable here. Trying to get the mic close enough to my mouth, but I don't want the tablet too close to my head. But anyway, yeah. Um, oh, what was I going to say now? I'm sorry. So I get distracted too. Um, yeah, the vision thing. So yeah, when I look through my closed eyelids, I oftentimes see I have a vision. Sometimes it's very clear, sharp, but oftentimes it's very overcast. You can hardly see clear images. It's very faint. And I did a video a couple of days ago, live stream, and I shared my sketchbook of some of the things that I've seen. So yeah, your comments would be greatly appreciated. What your thoughts were about my draft book, about I drew some of the things that I've seen. So yeah, I would love your comment on that. Um, so today, I'll talk about what I saw today and about a particular a draft that was leaked. So I'm going to be talking about a controversy as it pertains to this particular Supreme Court draft leak that happened. At least I'm just finding out now through some of the YouTube videos that were recommended to my channel, and I took a look at least two of them for clarity. Interesting. So I'm going to be talking about that. So let me talk about the first one about the vision that I saw. Um, and it's interesting because again, it seems to be clusters. It just seems like that. Water theme. Yeah. I was at a beach. I mean, I saw a beach. Um, it wasn't really that clear. It was very hazy, but I can tell that I saw the ocean and the sand, and it seemed very lively, beautiful, actually, very beautiful. Even though it was really faint, it looked just refreshing, and it was uh, daylight, so the morning. And I remember also seeing like I was looking as if I'm looking downward towards where my feet would be, and I couldn't really see my feet or the feet below. But you see water. The water looked about maybe 2 inches deep. The water seemed like it would be clear, and it's churning the water. And I thought, wow, yeah, it was brief, very brief what I saw. Um, and then I think I saw, yeah, I'm remembering, I think it was like a waterfall, something like water cascading downward. And I thought this was so interesting. Yeah, I was looking at multiple videos yesterday, nature scenes, and I'm just wondering where these things are. The mind is powerful. People, is the mind is so powerful to be able to see where am I seeing it from? That's a big secret. I would love to know where my mind is seeing. And today everything was the water. So I'm at this. I believed it was the same place, but I'm seeing different things. Like I'm looking around. I'm wondering, and I've said this before. Am I having multiple lives elsewhere? And could those other multiple lives be watching me? That would be so interesting. Wouldn't it, people? You're doing a meditation and you see something that's happening somewhere else. They could be doing the same thing and seeing me. They're seeing the Manhattan skyline, to see the clouds, to see the birds in the sky. We have seagulls flying New York City. How interesting. And then I'm seeing them. It is so, people, it's so exciting. They don't, I mean, what is going on? Why don't more people talk about this? Why? See, the answer is something. That's why I remember, see, I used to be a Christian people because they said, someone that I know, not going to mention their name, introduced this religion to me, and I was you know, like a lot of us out there back in the day, I was in my early 20s. I want, you know, aimless, hurting, and someone that's supposed to care about me. Who wouldn't want anybody to care about them? But I took my religion, my faith, I should say, my faith seriously. And I see that the religion, how it's practiced here, and especially a religion of how black people, I'm a black woman, yeah, a black woman of mixed heritage, but socially I am a black American woman, and how the religion is not equal, how it serves blacks and how it serves whites, or how it serves people of color, as we call it here in America, and how it serves white people are different. And I remember um, I had moved to the Caribbean, to the U.S. Virgin Islands, and I was, in a program. I see that I was in a program, so to speak. Like, religion is a program, and I was being programmed in my family to be an obedient person and to have no rights, or I'm not treated with feelings. And then I sought out a religion really that's designed to just control me further. My mind was still being controlled by others. I didn't have my own opinion, it seemed. My opinions um, were now to be harnessed, stifled, and to just follow along a program. You pay for the program, and they'll even get upset with you if you start to think for yourself, even though they're taking your money, your time. Doesn't it make sense? You're paying it, but yet they're acting like they are senior to you. You support them financially, and without that support, they're nothing. The power is in the people's hands, but we get afraid. We want our minds controlled by others, and it's really something, this brainwashing. So isn't that something? I chose a system for my from my early 20s to my 50s. I stopped going to church. Uh, it was the last Sunday of 2013 was my last day in church. It was an integrated church in New York City. It was a cute little church. I even joined a ministry within the church. And I was kind of thugged when I stopped going, and I explained to the person who headed the ministry that I belonged to. I expressed openly to her what was going on, and then she said angrily at me, "Well, if you leave, you can't come back." Wow, wow, thugs, and coming from that person. Yeah, she was a trip, that lady. Yeah, it's really funny how I have seen that woman before, some years, many years prior. Yeah, okay, so I left that church in 2013, but I entered that church in 2011, the end of 2011. But in, what year was that? In around 2000, 2005 or 6, I actually met her at another church in uh, a, another location. And I didn't realize it was the same woman. She had interviewed me at that other church. They're sneaky. They like to laugh and then they want to try to ask you your opinion. And I was just a visitor to that church. Yeah, I only went there twice. Yeah, it was an African church. Yeah, I was church hopping at this time, trying to figure out where I wanted to go when I came back to New York City to live from Hawaii. And who would have known years later, the same woman interviewing me, yeah, they had a big process at that church. The church, that church, really bizarre. Um, I think it might have been a couple of years before. Yeah, I had visited that church before. They um, had some function there, and I said, "Wow, I want to see about if I want to, do the how to become a member of this church if I wanted to." And I asked one of the staff, and he seemed very mean. Oh, we don't have membership, but it was mean like. Um, you just kind of like come here. We don't have a membership, really. I said, wow, that's different. No membership. It's a church, and I see a lot of people there. I'm sure, you know, but they did. And they had an extremely stringent, um, yeah, they had a stringent um, membership. And you had to get recommendations. I forget whether you had to have your face. Yeah, they had an interview too. Yeah, you have to two letters of recommendations, an interview with a group of people asking you very personal questions. And I think they also had to take your picture. Yeah. I know one of the two churches that I belonged to when I came back to New York City. I mean, I didn't belong to them at the same time, but when I stopped going to one, I went to the other. But yeah, it's being a member in the major churches here in New York City is very stringent. They all seem to, the two both said, oh, we don't really have membership. Oh, honey, they have a membership process that's very stringent. Never heard of this. I've gone to many churches in my lifetime, in my 30, I think, 30 plus years as a Christian then. And everything was very laid back. So yeah, it's a very corrupt, and they get angry when they no longer control you. And again, I wasn't when I left the church. I left not under bad terms. I had just stopped going because I had to work on something in my head. Um, it was clashing. Yeah, see, I'm on it in a different direction right now with the video, but it's okay. I go with the flow. Um, it was in, I was my thoughts were in conflict. I was a am a black woman, and I was interested in African spirituality. And Christianity just didn't have the flavor for me. It was flavorless, and I wanted to find out about who I was. It didn't make sense for me. And now at the time, I thought the pastor was a good person, but he was of a different race than I am. And not that it's supposed to make a difference, but I was growing and asking questions and wanting a sense of community, but a community within my own group. I wanted to know who I was culturally. I didn't know. I wanted to get in touch with my black side. Um, I was always for integration, and having all different people together, worship together. I thought, oh, isn't that nice? Yeah, I think it's still nice. It's nice for people to get along. But my world around me, because at that time, um, Trayvon Martin was the issue back then. Trayvon Martin was a 17-year-old boy, and in February of 2000, oh yeah, it was 2000 what day was it? 2011. Yeah, yeah, because I just started going back to church. No, 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 no. My mistake. Maybe it was 2000. Maybe it was 2012. Oh boy, then I'm not sure. Maybe okay. Yes, it was 2011. Yeah, because I just started going to church, and then I was only a member of that church for 2 years, and stopped going at the end of 2013. That's right. Trayvon Martin was murdered, and it shook me up. It made me aware that wow, in America, a young black man could be minding his own business, and someone butting in your business could demand you to tell them who you are, and you're on public property, and it's raining on you, and you're trying to get home, and it didn't make sense. And I have brothers and nephews, and I became afraid for their lives. And so it didn't make sense for me, to go to a church, to have a minister. Now we had more than one minister at that church. They had co-pastors, and then and we even had a female pastor. To service the different demographics, and that was fair. You had different demographics. You have women's needs and things like that. So it's okay. But the leader of that church, to not be someone from a group that I belong to, seemed outdated for me. Again, it was a extremely diversified church, but I knew that these were Masons because like the when that pastor was out, he would sometimes invite this other pastor to talk, on his behalf, do a sermon for the church. And he was part of this mega organization, church or Christian organization. Um, I'm not going to give the name of the organization, but it's a really big place, and one of their headquarters is right here in New York City. And I know that man was a Mason. I mean, they're brilliant. He was an older man. They're brilliant people. But I just said, you have this strong institution that I'm really not a member of, I'm not really privy of, and this thing is happening socially, people being killed. So I didn't feel comfortable anymore to be under the leadership of somebody. I don't see them boycotting. So why should I support them? And it turned out that that was the same church that this other YouTuber was a member of not too long. We could have actually overlapped. I didn't know that other YouTuber, but it was a coincidence that that YouTuber used to go to that church that I was a member of, and that they did something to her, that the first pastor, and he had died in a car accident, but he was harassing this woman. Weird things, and that she was being yeah, harassed, and I think followed, uh, intimidated, and I was shocked. No one ever approached me sexually. A leader? at that one, and he was an older guy. Yeah. Um, I was surprised, and she was forced to leave the States, and they followed her to, yeah, she went overseas, and they followed her. Wow. I don't know why she came back to the States, and she's claims to still have problems being what they call targeted individual. Yeah, I was a member of that same church. I was a member of the church that she was a member to. And she also was a member of another church, another mega church in Brooklyn. But I didn't, I visited that one, the one in Brooklyn, only once. But I also used to be a member of this other place in Brooklyn, another mega church. That one I was a member of, but not the one that she belonged to in Brooklyn. But we both were members at the one in Manhattan, a membership. But I don't know whether it could have overlapped. I was there from 2011 to 2011. I'm sorry, 2013. So it'd be interesting. Yeah, but I've never, I didn't know who she was, even if she was there. I did not know her. So it's like, I used to think churches were a symbol of purity. I don't believe it anymore. And especially after I left that church. Now, I didn't leave it because of something bad. I primarily was leaving because I was at an emotional dilemma handling the thing with Trayvon Martin, the boy being murdered, and my being a black woman going to a church that's headed by a white pastor. I no longer felt comfortable, and I wanted to explore because it didn't offer me anything. Um, my life as a Christian was just, you get up in the morning, you go in your prayer closet and you pray, and you pray for your friends and family and country, and that's it. And I had no empowerment. And I remember in my early days of Christianity in the West Indies, yes, I did live in the West Indies, and the pastor was saying, yeah, he was a pervert from the mainland, U.S. mainland, and he had ran away from the mainland and escaped to the West Indies and had one of his buddies to join him to church, what they call church planting. Church planting. Wow. And he almost, yes, good morning, Acer. Good morning. Yes, good morning. Yeah, I'm just talking about, um, I had, I'm talking about religion now, that my church experience, my, leaving, yes, good morning, this lovely, rainy day in Manhattan. It feels beautiful, the temperature, a nice cool breeze. But yeah, I'm talking about religion now. I did have another vision today. There were beach scenes. I saw scenes at a beach, water and sand, and then I saw like where my feet would be, and I saw like water, like the water was like maybe 2 inches deep. You could see through the water. It's churning and everything, and I saw a cascade of water. So that's today's theme. Everything was water. So I'm wondering, wow, that that the theme or where this alternative life is in water. Yeah, I love the sound of running water, but me actually getting in the water and all that, I'm not really into the water, but I love looking at water, and I love the sound of running water immensely. So now I'm talking about, you know, it branched off into religion, this church I used to belong to, and how, yeah, I belong to this church, and the churches that I aren't innocent. They're not innocent at all, and they're run by Masons, and they have an extensive network all over the planet. I thought it was just something in New York. No, they're in the West Indies also. Yep, and they're in Africa also. So they're really about following and controlling you, and that's what I think that's what I'm talking about. It that I see that I didn't have a brain of my own. I didn't have thoughts of my own, and um, the thing with Trayvon Martin being killed is what um, really had me step away from mainstream religion. Now, when I walked away from the church, again, it wasn't like angry. I was just wanting to seek out other spirituality. I still believed in God, and at that time, I still believed in the Bible, but I wasn't into the institution. God is, but I wasn't interested in the institution, and I really wanted to know about more about my uh, racial identity and culture and all that. I didn't feel that I fit in the religious box, but I was still a so-called religious person. And a year later, I had a paradigm shift from another YouTuber who opened up my eyes to a question. And basically, they were saying she talked about the Anunnaki. Her book was about the Anunnaki, and that um, the God in the Bible was really about the rulers from other planet taking over humanity, and that the Jesus that we read about, what didn't exist. That the New Testament was based on Sumerian tablets, creation stories that happened thousands and thousands of years before the Bible. So it was a story over was a, over was it? It could have been over 6,000 years, and then you had people write what we know of the Bible, but they were thousands of years apart. So how? So they're using the same story of a Jesus character that happened many thousands of years prior, and then passing it off as something that just happened 2,000 years ago. And that was a meltdown for me. It I had a paradigm shift. I thought I was having a mental breakdown. I kid you not. When she said that, I said, "What?" Because I raced to get her book, and when I started reading it and what she was saying, she didn't tell us. Yeah, I followed this. I used to follow this YouTuber for a couple of years, and I saw that she was on a spiritual journey as I was. Yeah, I might have discovered her on YouTube maybe 2013. Yeah, the year I was starting to think about. Yeah, I was still attending church in 2013, but the last Sunday of 2013, I stopped going to church. But I was still seeking, and I think that's when I first learned of that YouTuber, and then in 2014, the end of 2014, so it was a year later, the end of 2014, she makes an announcement that she um, has a book coming out. I was probably one of the first people to buy her book. And then I had a meltdown, and I was a walking zombie. I felt like I was a zombie. Could you imagine someone telling you live your life? I mean, you're living life, believing in this scenario that this thing called God, and then to find out it's not a God, but that there are other planets out there, and you have beings that are out there, and they're taking control over this planet. That 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 freaked me out. It freaked me out, and that was the real catalyst for me. In other words, she said, before the book came out, before she made the announcement, she made the announcement in late November of 2014. And I was a heavy follower of this YouTuber. And she shared also, she said, if you want to open up your pineal gland, just start asking yourself questions. And that's all I needed to know. I mean, I mean, I was trying to think, but sometimes when people stating the obvious of something, it's like, hey, it's okay to breathe. They say, yeah, it's okay to breathe. Then you start taking deep breaths. You know what I'm saying? And so her saying it's okay to think, yeah, ask questions. So I consciously said, yes, it's okay to ask questions. And I started asking myself questions about society. And I even went to yeah, I knew that something was going on. And I went to the museum. Yeah, so I was following her a video, and I went to the Museum of Modern Art, I'm sorry, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and they have the man's early man's section, when they have what we call the primitive man and the bones of the early mankind. I went there, and it was fantastic. It had me ask questions. And you know what they say? You are not allowed, get this, people. See, I know that they're hiding something. They're saying at that museum, you are not allowed, you can take pictures, but you're not allowed to publish them. You cannot share it on any device. They say it's their property. But look at this. How could they say it's their property, somebody's bones? See, they don't want the people to know what's in these museums and the age of these items. Why would you say, hey, you can't share it? It's a public place, right? You pay to get in, and it's your right to show what you see. You want to isn't it about education? They had bones, I think, in Israel that was over 100,000 years old. But I thought the Bible said that mankind was only around for 6,000, and I knew that. I knew that would be an issue, and that's why I went there. My subconscious said, you have to break the program. You have to break the program of this religion and what they're telling you, what is your history, that they're lying. And so I took pictures. And I said, this is impossible. So something doesn't fit. Something doesn't fit. And then the end of that year, I think it was 2014, because you say, hey, it's okay, you want to open your pineal gland, start to ask questions. So I actively said, I am going to go to that museum and check out this, where they claim where we come from. And wow. And then her book comes out in the end of 2014, which caused a paradigm shift in my mind. So a big part of 2015, I was just walking around. Yeah, I was telling people I just had a paradigm shift. I don't know what to believe in anymore. And I would meet two people that year on my journey. I think I needed it at the time. I'm not in contact with them, but at the time I thought they were really wonderful people. Sometimes when you meet these people, they're really not for long term. They're just for the season. They're just for then, that you may have needed to help you through the paradigm shift. Yeah, there were two black women that I met a month apart. Yeah, I meant them in the month of May. I meant the first one in the month of May, and the other one could have been the end of May or June. Yeah, one was a black American woman, and the other was an African woman, Central African woman, and she was raised in Europe, and then she moved to the U.S. Um, some years ago with yeah. So it's really interesting, really interesting that yeah, even that was an eye opener. Yeah, not everybody who living on that continent is really in. People are people. People are people. Whether you live on the African continent, European continent, or American continent, people are people, and people are going to be what they are. People are going to be what they are. And I needed to say that just now. Yeah, I minister to myself as well. People are going to be people. And so some things aren't the answer per se. It's not the answer of if I live here, people are going to be a certain way. People are going to be what they are. And I don't want to set myself up to disappointment because my logic is saying, hey, it's okay to visit different places, but don't think that it's going to be a walk in the park. People are going to be what they are. Not everybody's going to like you. Not everybody clicks. Not everybody clicks. But I'm stressed living here in this domain. I'm very sad. I see that people are stressed. I live in New York City, and people, it's calming down a little bit since you don't have to wear the mask. But you have a lot of people who still do wear the diaper on their face, as I call it. But things are still happening. Yeah, there's an undercurrent, and it's our system is being taken over stealth. There are secret organizations that are really working behind the scenes to control you, and I don't like it. And that's interesting. Where what the second thing I was going to talk about now is that controversial, um, the Supreme Court decision, the Roe versus Wade, about that particular thing, women's rights to have, what. And, yes, it is a sensitive topic. And I heard that how that bill got passed initially in 1972 or 1973. Um, it oh I don't remember. I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly what it was, but it wasn't something that was really the issue. I mean, yes, the women's rights thing was the issue, but the woman that was allegedly seeking this benefit to do to her body, and that she was used only to push the agenda. There are agendas that are being promoted. Don't you ever wonder why certain agendas are promoted? A woman's body has been her body from day one. And don't you start to ask yourself, why is it then an issue? And so when I turned on my device today, my computer, and saw one of the recommended videos for me to watch, I listened to it. and someone had leaked this draft. The Supreme Court, I guess, they get together and they discuss certain things and they have it written down. Well, what it turned out, what happened, it's like a spy. Now, what these Supreme Court judges discuss amongst themselves is a lifetime appointment, and they need to discuss things safely and not feel like they're being bullied to make certain decisions. They're supposed to come, brilliant minds come together and work out what is the best for our Constitution. And this person by the name of Elizabeth Warren, I think she's a senator, has spoke out about it. This leaking, and that um, discussing, I think, in the back regarding the 1970s, that they had people. How did she say it now? They were put on the record. That's what she said. That the people involved in this decision making were put on the record, and so it was used against them. That it would be like political suicide if your opinion about a particular matter came out, and it would affect your voting, your ability to get reelected, something like that. So it seemed like a blackmail. That it was like political blackmailing, and that they would squeal on you what your belief about a particular subject so you don't get reelected of something. Something to that effect, it seemed like um, Elizabeth Warren was talking about, according to she was being interviewed, and so, some book, I don't know who's, was it her book or somebody's book that was being promoted also. But could you believe that? You are a Supreme Court judge, and you have people in government serving as spies and getting you on the record of a belief and use it against you so you don't get elected into office or something. Isn't that, is that cohesion? It's forcing somebody's hand. It's indirectly taking a weapon and putting it up to their head and say, if you want me to pull the trigger, just continue on in your belief about something. Then then it's no freedom. There's no real freedom to do that to somebody. You have a right to your opinion. And isn't this supposed to be a democracy? You come to a vote, but if someone's trying to pull your hand how to vote, then it's not freedom, and it's thuggery. And she, in essence, is saying that we found out what their belief was, and use it against them, so that to push an agenda. That's horrible. That is horrible, people. And so this leak, someone leaked the draft of the Supreme Court judges again, discussing the subject. They said this is midterm elections coming up, and there's going to be an election this November. And you have people who want to be reelected. And so you have factions in the U.S. who are, in essence, blackmailing people to the right to have their opinion about a particular subject. I think this is wrong. Another thing I wanted to talk about with regard to this subject is yeah, it's a personal, your body is personal, but why don't they ever discuss how what is the real issue of behind having um, that right to do to your body, women? What's going on in our lives that's forcing uh, several million abortions every year? Millions. This should be an alarm to society. Why are so many women feeling like they need to get that particular procedure done? I think that's the real question. Not so much the right to do what you want to do with your body, but why? What is the social cause for you to feel forced to do that? This is the real question that people in society really should be asking themselves. Why the need to do that with your body? You for several million. There's some nations out there. I was on the internet. There's some countries that only have maybe 2 million people. Nations. This country here in the US is having more of that procedure done than the number of people in nations out there. This should be alarming people. It's not alarming you? It should. What's happening here? What's going on with your body? Why the need to have that done? Are all these procedures done because of, let's say, incest or rape? I doubt it. My instincts tell me, no, that's not the narrative. Can that happen? You bet it. You bet it can. But we all know that that's not the issue. I think the real law that should be, addressed here is how to stop the need, to stop the social disease. Yes, this is a social disease. How to heal the social disease that is causing women to seek out that procedure done on to their body. You think anything really good could come out of a nation who's doing this excessively? Why aren't we discussing that? I've never heard a discussion to address the social concerns of women, why they feel a need to do what they're doing. I've known women that has have those procedures done to their body, and the one that I know had many abortions. Oops, I wasn't supposed to say that word. Many of them had it, multiple ones, and it's just they didn't feel like, they were careless. They were just wanting to feel good, and oops, an inconvenience. Yeah, that's who I know. And one person that they shared with me, they had that procedure done, but they were very depressed. Those procedures done over your body can make you depressed for a long time, ladies. I think women should come together and try to resolve why the need of having this done. I think the real issue is about empowerment. You might have some women that feel to move up the corporate ladder that they have to maybe sleep with their boss. I think some women use their body as a weapon for leverage to get favor for jobs or to get a man. And they feel, well, I'm getting older and I need a man because I'm getting older and I don't want to look like a wallflower and I could trap him and force a pregnancy so he wanted to stay with me. But as we know, ladies, that it can backfire on you when these ladies get pregnant and the guy walks out. Now, I think this is something that should be addressed in the Supreme Court. How to, to pass laws, social laws that might be pressuring women to use their body as a weapon to get political favor, to trap a man, or who knows what. Or let's say they're a prostitute. Let's say they're in poverty, and the only thing they know how to do is that, and then they get pregnant. Okay? I think they should pass laws that are designed to empower women's choice to say no. That to have the power to say, no, boss, I will not have sex with you to get this job or to keep this job. That is empowerment. But to force it on a fetus, a baby, I think is wrong. Yes, good morning out there. Good morning. Yeah. Isn't that, ladies, isn't it more empowering to say, to have the power to say, I will not have sex with you in order to get this apartment, in order to get this job? And that if you try to do that to a woman, to force her to do things against her will, that they would be prosecuted harshly. That is empowerment. But to kill a baby is not empowerment. Power to say no. The power to say no. The power of a young girl, let's say a young girl coming of age. In some societies, once that woman reaches what they call sexual maturity, she gets her first period, she, in essence, is sold to the highest bidder and married off. You have a lot of immigration now in the U.S., and you have women from nations around the world that have these practices. That they go, and once she comes of that age, they marry off the daughter to some old guy. And she does not have rights. She cannot say no. This is something that is worthy of the Supreme Court to discuss, to protect women's rights, humanity's rights. Or let's say female genital mutilation. There are women, massive number of women all over the world in these what they call primitive societies in Africa, North Africa, West Africa, and I think even parts of Asia, the Middle East, all those areas. Women are, not women, girls, little girls, that should be, that is a problem. And who it benefits is not the woman, but the man. And it's only done for the man's ego to help ensure that his bride is a virgin. But yet these men, those men probably are not virgins themselves, right? They have prostitution in a lot of these countries. You know that they're trafficking. I saw over the internet this week that they are trafficking, again, African women to Asia for prostitution. Now, this is something that should be stopped. This is something that's worthy of social discussion to protect the lives of the weak. Women are being trafficked. And some of these places in Africa, like um, in the Muslim religion, you're forbidden to, at least the women are forbidden to have sex before marriage. And if she is caught having sex or is caught pregnant, that they can stone her to death. But you notice with things like that, they never seem to kill the guy that gets her pregnant. It's always, again, attack on women. That should be protected. Women's lives should be protected. These are arguments that's worthy of discussion. We look at, we focus on the symptom. The symptom is the multiple abortions. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say that word. That is the symptom of the problem. The problem is the women are being forced of a certain social lifestyle for them to get certain benefits that she may feel she's not won't be able to get unless she does this particular thing with her body, with this guy. And again, some of these nations out there, they have these strict sex laws, but you know those guys are getting it somewhere, and that's where the human trafficking is coming in. Human women and children are being human trafficked to do these sexual acts with these adult men. Primarily, it's men that are demanding this. And I think that is sad. That is sad. Yeah, let me see some of the comments here. Okay, Acer had said religions are created to divide races and cultures. Yes, exactly, Acer. And he also says Jesus is based on sun gods from Egypt mythology, Horus, Isis. Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that. Yeah, I see that one of the comments was retracted. Yeah, so I don't know what happened there. I did not retract anything, in case anybody's wondering. Yeah. These, these are things that's really, really pressing people. Um, why people are forced to do certain things. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know, Acer. Yeah, I'll check later on the email. You know what I think? I think these things that are happening to the fetuses, in the millions, that I believe they're selling them. See, they create, I believe, the system in charge is creating a social problem, or they invent a problem. And so, oh, women need the right to do X, Y, and Z. But actually, there was no real cry for help regarding this. And I think that they are pushing the issue because they want to do rituals with those bodies. They're taking these bodies, and I believe that they are using it for science. That's what I think what they're doing. They're using it for science. and other ghoulish things to make maybe makeup for women, the baby fat, and they're using it for pervert. Or there's also rituals. I hope I'm not. I'm sorry if I'm offending anybody. I don't mean to offend anybody. See, the system is creating an argument that no one really had. Women were doing what they were doing from day one. But why did they in the 1970s push the issue when it really wasn't an issue regarding the woman who's called Roe? It wasn't a real issue. I think she was approached, she was asked about something, and they took it, made something political. Why? Well, remember a couple of weeks ago, I shared with you guys that I had this vision, and that I would do this technique, upon awakening in the morning. And in the morning, I would meditate with my eyes closed, and then I would have a vision. And I told you a couple of weeks ago, it might have been maybe 2 weeks ago, I saw these people and a being in a room, and they were wearing these robes, these hooded robes, and they were all lined up, breast to, shoulder to shoulder. It was about 6 of them, 2 on the left, my left, and the remaining 4 on my right. And one of them in particular wore a red robe, and all the others, I think it was black or something, it was a dark color. But the one wearing the red robe, what he was, it was a man. It looked like a man, but he, I mean, I kid you not, people. I shared this before. He had the face of a crocodile. You know what a crocodile or an alligator looks like? I kid you not, I do not do drugs, and I don't drink alcohol. And in the vision, I saw a man. He looked very mannish, and he was big. He had a thick body. He had he was a dark color, and they were in a dim room, a dim lit room. I mean, a dimly lit room. It was bright enough that you can tell the color of the robes. But other than that, it was a very dimly lit room. And you see that he had a face, like an alligator You know that they had a long snout? That's what it had. And a big barrel chest. The robe, because he was so thick and big, the robe was very tight on him, tight on his head and tight on his body. And all the others had they looked like regular. They seemed like Caucasian men, white men. And I saw this. And remember, David Icke, the researcher, talked about these what do you call reptile people. I saw this, and that they allegedly control the planet. Well, what if these reptile things want the bodies of those infants, those fetuses? Did you know I believe what I was watching was a ritual that was going to take place, some type of secret meeting that was about to take place. What if they're taking these bodies of the infants? You know what? Because that was being discussed. If you watch David Icke's, yeah, he used to be on YouTube, David Icke, but they pulled his channel. Why did they pull his channel? Because he was getting too close to the truth. And other people talked about it also. I know it sounds crazy. I followed David Icke since I learned of him in 2001. So it's 20 years ago. And I didn't take it, him seriously back then. I just took it as entertainment. I was a Christian back then, and these things I said, these aren't true. It's just entertainment. That's how I took it. But I personally saw it. What if this thing is demanding certain laws be passed because they want to be able to then take these fetuses and do magic with it, to eat it? Don't you see? Look at China. You know that they eat babies in China. I unfortunately saw another video, a photo on YouTube, and it totally grossed me out. A man eating, he had a bucket of fetuses, big ones, and in that country, you can have a late term abortion, a late term abortion. And so he got, he had access to it. I don't know who the guy was. It was just by chance that I saw this on YouTube. I think it was YouTube. Something. It was a couple of years back. And it was a photo of a guy having this thing on his plate. I couldn't. Yeah, I don't like evil like that. This is evil. Evil. There's evil out there. And again, I saw that being, that reptile thing. And they also call it in some circles the Pindar. The Pindar. I learned that term many years ago from Dr. I think his name David Dingle. No, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Bill Dingle. Bill or Will Dingle. Deagle. Deagel. Either Will or Bill Deagle. He is a medical doctor and a scientist. And he said that he was recruited. They tended to recruit him. What he called the Pendar. That means the dragons, the phallic symbol. The Pendar, I don't want to use words to offend people, but the Pendar means the private part of the dragon. And it's a male dragon. And that they were trying to force his hand. And interesting enough, the guy is a Jewish fellow. And it seems like a certain, it seems like some of the people of that religion is being recruited to do these wicked things. But he said, no, I will not do it. He said, no. So I start to wonder, like you have the Bible, what they call the Abrahamic religions. The three major religions stem out from that belief system of Abraham. And it seems like the people who allegedly are descendants from Abraham seem to be in the power seat. But what if the God of Sumer, ancient Sumer, is really the Pindar, and forcing his hand over humanity? Yeah, okay, Asa, let me show what Asa said. Okay, Asa said, I think the price of living has become so expensive, women are forced to work along with the husband. Women used to be able to stay at home and raise the babies and the home while the man would work. Yes, exactly. Asa also says that reptile you see is called, oh, Baphomet. Okay. Yeah, the Baphomet. Okay. The Baphomet. Okay, I know of what the Baphomet is. The Baphomet is a goat. The Baphomet is a goat. I didn't see a goat. I saw a um, a crocodile man. He had a face like a crocodile. The Pindar is a goat head, go by, but it has horns, but they represent the same thing. Yes, the Baphomet and the thing I saw, I think they represent the same thing. Yeah, definitely, definitely, they represent the same thing. And but it's really interesting. So that guy, Bill Deagle, he used to come on the internet many years ago. Yeah, I was new at it. I was new on the internet. This was going back around 2007 when I first learned of Bill Deagle, the Dr. Deagle. Yeah, you can find his name on the under Dr. Deagle, and he's a scientist and a medical doctor, and he had gotten privy to, yeah, he was around at, with the September 11th thing, and being that he's a medical doctor, someone that came to him who got exposed to something, and the guy was afraid to tell him what happened to him. And he said, "Look, if you want me to help you, you have to be upfront with me." And then he said something about this radiation thing. And so he had to, because he also is a chemist. Also, yeah, the guy is very talented. Don't you ever wonder why, how some groups could be so intelligent? I mean, I had to work for everything growing up. I mean, I don't have that gift of, you know, um, memorizing things. I had to work for everything I got. But some people are brilliant, brilliant. They love math. They love chemistry. They have a fast mind, and they talked about this. Other scientists have talked about this. Jewish scientists themselves talk about that. It's like again, I'm not saying these things to offend. I mean, this is what these doctors have mentioned about themselves. It's not something that I'm saying to be racially or ethnically offensive, but they themselves have put it out there about a gene that there's they call it the J gene, referring to the ethnic group, and they're highly intelligent, but they're also prone to that gene is also linked with a particular disease that often befalls this particular group. It's a genetic um, um, genetic thing that hurts this particular group. But what if these people, okay, they come out from Abraham, and it seems like people of Abraham's seed seems to be in very high positions as an observation. It's just an observation, not a criticism. And even this Dr. Deagle, I think, even discussed this, and he admits he's a Jewish man, and he's brilliant. How is it that they get this brilliance? Well, they have this particular gene. What if the Pendar or this crocodile or alligator race seeded these particular people to run the social climate here? I know it's very, I'm not trying to offend anybody, but they themselves analyze their own genetics and they see that they have something special in this, a particular gene that they have that enables them to have uh, a high IQ. Our body is a computer. Our body is a computer. And some people have like a supercomputer mind. They know how to work it. It's all a program. It's all a program of ability. I definitely didn't inherit it. I, I definitely did not inherit that gene of, I remember when I was in college, I met this man. He was a lawyer, and he wasn't of that ethnic group. He was not, but he just had a brilliant man. He could read something that would require me to take several hours reading and understanding. He did it in 5 minutes. Five. I said, "Wow, how did you do that?" Yeah, I had to work with, collaborate with him for an assignment. This guy, I mean, um, could process information so fast. And I think in my case, what happened is that I uh, get anxious. I'm a very anxious person because of certain traumas that I've been through. So I have to work that much harder. And um, like they talk about with the MK Ultra, MK Ultra is a program that is done upon people at an early age because of the plasticity of the mind to be programmable. And yes, I was programmed. Definitely, I was intimidated and in such a high state of anxiety that it holds me back from being able to really relax my mind and to think. I am a thinker, but it just takes me longer to focus and concentrate on things. That's my issue. But yeah, we there are people with special abilities. There's an organization, I'm sure some of you have heard of it. I think it's called Mensa. It's an organization for the super intelligent, people with super IQs. Super IQs, and that they meet up and they are encouraged to have children together to promote a super race of people. What if certain people's genetics were tweaked or that they are members of a particular reptilian race of people? Again, it could be different groups. You can have different races that came to the planet Earth and are bidding for power over each other. Let's say you got three intelligent alien beings, races of beings, and all three of them have a supercomputer mind. And then let's say they breed with certain people here on this planet, knowing that they'll have a super mind, super ability, they'll have it over you in college. Let's say elementary school, high school, and college. They will always be on the top of their game to ensure that they control governments, uh, corporations. Because you see now, people, that it seems like the corporations are running the show on this planet. They're running the show. Why do we need a corporation? Corporations are as strong as the people who finance them. We don't have to buy their products. You don't even have to buy a computer. You don't have to buy their computer or software. Remember, just say no. Just say no. But we're not. They make us addicted to the product, right? That is what they do. They make us addicted to the product. They make us addicted to the internet. Look at those little kids. You get a bunch of little kids, let's say they're 5, 6 years old. Honey, they are um, glued to that screen. It's something with the screen that, especially men, it stimulates them and it's highly addictive. What if the computers that we look on are programming our little children to behave a certain way? They are pushing it. They are pushing it. I know there's other things I wanted to talk about that I saw uh, on the internet. Yeah, there's a lot of things that are happening in New York City. Did you hear that? What's his name? Dave Chappelle. How many of you've heard of Dave Chappelle? He's a black comedian. And remember at one point he went into hiding. Something happened and he went into hiding for years and now he came back. Well, someone attacked him on stage about 3 days ago. And funny that it was about Netflix. Remember they said it was some spoof on Netflix or something? I forget the name, what they call it. Those of you who know what it was called, that show he did, and it's something about Netflix, and so Netflix is having it's being on a scrutiny these days. Something that they were promoting. Yeah, I remember a couple of, was it a year ago? They had something with little children. They had a show on Netflix, and it was about these little kids, and they were being sexualized. Remember that? Yeah, and people got real angry. See that? You see how things are related? The body, children, uh, sexualizing children. Yeah. Okay. But at the time, yeah, Asa, thank you for sharing that. But Asa, wasn't that, I mean, the clip that they showed on the internet, they just showed, at least at that point when the attack happened, he was just um, praising a person, what do you call it, an engineer. One of the engineers that was, I think, with the sound engineer, and he was just complimenting him when the attack actually happened. But yeah, I think just before that, he was talking about something they said. But interesting though. See, see, everything is related, people. Everything seems to be related, and it doesn't it doesn't look related because it sounds different. The alphabet soup that's being consumed now. Um, well, if you force people uh, to have certain orientations, isn't that going to greatly decrease people being born? I think the movement, again, people's preference is their business. What two adults do in their bedroom is their business. But it goes more than just that because they want to alter the thinking of your, uh, gender. They don't want you to know what gender you are. They want to mentally confuse people of their identity. Your identity is one of the most important things on this planet. Your identity is one of the most important things on this planet. Who you are to you. And it's being weaponized on a basic level. Are you a girl or boy? And this is being targeted because they want to control the way you think. They want to control the way you think because they want to control your body. And if you don't know who you are, they'll tell you who you are, and they'll tell you what to do with yourself based on what you are. So if someone could classify and tell you you're something that you're not, they can also get you to do something, people. They can also have you do something that you wouldn't normally do. What do they want you to do? They want you to uh, violate your womb. They want to use those babies in rituals. Because remember, David, I talked about those rituals that they had. Because they're going to do magic with it. What else? Um, they want to make you into robots. They want, like they have this movie called, what's that name? Shell in a Body. No, something, soul, shell, something, soul in a shell, something, what is that? Ghost in the Shell, that's right. It's called Ghost in a Shell. And it's talking about the near future where people's bodies will be harvested. They'll take out your brain and put your brain in a computer, in a robot. And then they're going to say, oh, we own you. You are government property. Because it's easier to make soldiers out of these computers, and that they're a type of slave. That's where it's headed to. They want to enslave you and become a machine, and they rule the planet and have you do all the work. They're going to try to seduce you. They're going to try to seduce you that, hey, you want to be popular. Oh, you want to be popular. You're going to be in the in crowd if you get this um, um, robotics in your body. Yeah, they don't want you to have your own mind. And interesting, the movie Ghost in the Shell. Go watch it today. It's a fantastic movie. Yeah. Also, they show. Oh, what's that now? Ghost in the Shell. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just forgetting. I'm sorry. It'll probably come to me. Boy, I can't stand when that happens. But it's all about control. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Yeah, this is very, very important. In the very beginning of the movie, uh, this man who has all these robotics on him, smart devices, and he's at a dinner, a dinner meeting with these African people, these African men, and he's trying to convince the Africans that they should go more into this robotics. And as he's trying to pitch to the two African guys, a robot that looks like one of those geisha girls attacks him. And then the meeting gets um, intruded on with these hijackers, and they kill everybody, kill the people who are promoting the robotics. They leave the Africans alone. They didn't shoot the Africans, but they killed the people who were trying to promote this particular robotics because they're in competition. The companies are in competition with each other. They didn't want them to have the heads up, the advantage. So I think Africa also is being, is going to be in the forefront about, I mean, it's going to be a focus on them in the very near future about their role in technology. I don't know how come after 400 plus years, 500 years of Western Europe involvement with Africa, how come Africa isn't at its technological stage as America? Again, the Europeans invaded the Americas and took complete control over all of the Americas. And I questioned myself, how come they didn't do the same thing to Africa to the same extent as in the Americas? Part of the answer, I think, and again, I would like your feedback too. The African continent is very big, and um, it's it's not as habitable for the European. Don't you notice that where the European really focus on living is on the very bottom, the very south, or the very top? Yeah. Don't you notice that? They don't go into the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia. I mean, there are whites there, but they not. They had a chance back in the day to attack Saudi Arabia and take over, but they weren't interested in the desert. They were interested in agriculture, the sugar. I don't know what anybody who's a history buff. Why was the European so preoccupied with sugar? Now I know that they used the sugar to make rum, and the rum was used to give to the African, so to get them drunk so they could take more captives. But still, why did the European have this obsession to take complete control over the Americas, but not have the same thing about Africa? Well, I think people, Africa is being controlled by somebody else. The continent of Africa is being controlled by another force. The African continent, according to geneticists, is the oldest inhabitant of humanity, is the cradle of humanity. And so if it's the oldest and the first, then maybe it is being controlled by other forces out there. The African continent, I believe, is being under control by an extremely powerful individual. And so even though they had like the slave trade, see, they only allow them to take what they want, what they were allowed to take. Because remember, Britain got involved in the slave trade, and then somehow Britain took control over the monopoly of the human trafficking of Africans. Remember that. Britain acquired the monopoly over the whole trade system of slavery. And so I'm wondering whether the uh, reptile race is instructed, because see, the royal family is also affiliated with the dragon. And so they were ordered and say, um, you're not going to take any more people from here. We only allowed you to take a certain amount. Now that's up. What you do to those Africans in the Americas or Europe, that's your business. But hands off now to the African continent of human trafficking, the African to be utilized as forced labor slash slavery. The dragon controls the situation. What you think Britain loves black people? You think they? I think the whole enterprise of the transatlantic uh, human trafficking of the African was maybe under the direct instruction of the dragon. But why you couldn't just take the indigenous population and just have them do the work, or just bring Europeans and just pay them? Why this subjugation over to such an extreme? There's a project, some type of project, some project. The act of slave labor is just the symptom. It's not the focus of the real issue. What is this the actual focus? Is that's what's being obscured. But they want you to be focused on the race card, and it has nothing to. I don't think it's really to do with race. They have it's a an agenda. It is an agenda that was to be obtained. What that agenda is that was to be obtained, I'm not sure. But if any of you have a guess what it was, please feel free to share it. But I think it's a part of the New World Order thing that they needed to set up headquarters in the Americas. What that headquarters was, I don't know. It could be people about the grid. There are, not grid, I meant to say portals. There are portals out there, and I think in part the taking over the Americas was to obtain access to portals that are located throughout the Americas. It is about portals. And if these dragon beings are controlling the planet, they might want to have access to certain portals because maybe they're in a competition. It might be more than one dragon. Or what you call it, the Nordics. You notice now they also talk about the Nordic beings, the Nordic ETs. There might be more than one group in competition. And I'm thinking that people on planet Earth are assigned to these different rulers. I think I'm speculating whether the Semitic races are assigned to the dragon slash the Pendar slash the reptile beings slash the crocodile alligator race people. And then you have other groups that might be assigned to other groups. But something that's there's something essential about the so-called black race from Africa. On one level, hands off on sub-Saharan group people, but at the same time in history they were utilized to do this human trafficked assigned work, forced labor upon them. Could what was happening, I think some of the, why so much resources, um, like fabric, cotton was a major thing, indigo, tobacco and sugar and rum. What if these things were resources to use for the underground bunkers? There are underground cities, I was told. There are underground cities, I have been told, called dumps. Deep underground military, what's that? Deep underground military something. And what if the transatlantic slave trade was being utilized because they needed resources? The dragon needed resources for maybe clothing, I mean, and the sugar. Some of the underground bases are, they claim to be in the Antarctic and in the North Pole. When I saw a documentary on people who work in the North Pole, and that they have to have constant intake of sugar, constant intake of sugar, because when you're in a cold environment, you shake because you're cold. And the only way the body is able to really warm itself is by shaking. And that requires a tremendous constant fuel. What if the transatlantic slave trade of the dumps, deep underground military bases, dumps, oh, thank you. I thought it was P at the end. Oh, thank you. Thank you for clarifying. Thank you. So, what if that see, it had to be for something? Because remember, they first said that Columbus, uh, he wanted to go to either India or China because he wanted to get these spices. Well, why did he stop his assignment? Because that's not what he was really after. And did you know Christopher Columbus in his ship's log? Yeah, every captain has a ship's log. It's like a diary, and they write down all the things that happen aboard that ship. And he talked about that when he so-called discovered the Americas, that he was promised, he requested that his descendants would receive 10% of all wealth in the Americas. 10%. Did any of you hear about that? I'll repeat. Christopher Columbus, upon him so-called finding the Americas, he said that all he requested from the king and queen, that all his descendants will be guaranteed 10% of all wealth. 10% of all wealth of the Americas. 10%. Christopher Columbus was a Jewish man. He was of Jewish ancestry. He was forced into Catholicism to stay alive. But he was a man of Jewish ancestry. He was a Jew, but he was practicing Catholicism for show, like many people of that day. If you did not follow Catholicism, you were killed. So again, I'm suggesting that that group might be in connection with the Pendar, connected with the reptile races genetically, that they might have been mixed with the Pendar or the reptile races. So their genetics are a little different, and they have this, some of them have this special ability, this intellect. A lot of scientists, a lot of teachers, uh, that they're dominant by this particular group. But what if they have an advantage just because they're mixed with the Pendar? And Christopher Columbus um, is given, I believe, I think that's where, what do you call it, the IRS? I'm wondering whether the IRS is part of it to guarantee the descendants your money. There's something else going on. Like, I live in this building, and I got it through a lottery system. Not lotto. I'm not saying lotto when you get money. No, my name was chosen with other people's to be able to move in here. But it's a special agreement that they say it makes no sense. For me to live here, um, they say I'm not allowed, because I'm the only one in this household, that no more than half or more people living in this type of building under this contract are not allowed to go to school full time. Why is that? Oh no. Yeah, I better get up. I have to plug it in. I have to find my what do you call it? My plug. It's on 10%. Where is it now? Okay, I see it. Okay. I have to put this plug in. Mm. Okay. Have to plug this in. Okay, I just plugged in. Let me see if I can sit down here. Just a moment. Oh, I can't. I don't have enough room to sit down. Okay, so I just stand up. Well, let me move over again. Okay, I'd go like this. Okay. So, oh yeah. So in this building, but see, my moving in here, anybody could apply for it. Anybody. They advertise in the newspaper. It's based on income. You send in a postcard to request an application, and then you get the application, you fill it out, and then once they get all the drawings, they do, all the applications, then they do a drawing. So my name was one of many that were selected to be able to move in here. But it's a whole process to qualify. That's just part of the qualification to get selected. And then you have to qualify financially. But they tell once the process is all complete, you have an orientation, a group orientation, and they tell you at the meeting that you cannot go to school full time. 50% of anyone dwelling in your unit, if over half of them is going to school, you're not allowed. So I was not allowed to go to school full time. What is it their business? If it's not something that only students, you could be any occupation. But they stipulate this. And so I went to investigate. And I got a lot of pullback. Because it didn't make sense and I wanted to finish school early. That's why it took me 8 years to finish. Because I had to go to school part-time. And I wanted to go full-time so I can finish earlier. So I started digging. And they got angry with me, government agencies, when I did an inquiry. Yeah, people, yeah, go investigate for me and share the information. That it's one of those 80/20 buildings. 80/20. It's a private development, and these private developers in New York City, they want a discount, the tax write-off. So I said, okay. You can get your tax write-off if you put in X number of people of a particular income bracket. And so that's the agreement. But anybody could apply. Anybody. Anybody. You could be a lawyer, a doctor, whatever, but it's an income bracket. But they're saying you can't go to school full time. Doesn't that sound bizarre? So I went to inquire. I talked to my representative, I think it was, and they got some information for me. Something about it's related to the IRS. The IRS is linked with this process, but also they don't show you the law. They don't show you on paper that you cannot go to school full time. When you ask, oh, could you show me the literature or the document or the law that says I cannot go to school full time? And if you go to school full time and get caught, they can throw you out. They could throw you out of the apartment. I kid you not. They said that they will throw you out. They say you can make as much money as you want. You could become a billionaire. And you have a right to stay here. But you cannot go to school full time. Does that make sense, people? Does that make sense? So I wanted to find out what in the world is going on. So I talked to a representative, something like that. And something about the IRS involved. It was something. And they had told me. And then I went to another official. And when they found out who told me just the general information that is something with the IRS, they verbally threatened him. They threatened him. And when I talked to him again, he was scared to talk to me. Yeah, I was just a student that just wanted to go to school full time. That's all. I want to go to school. And I'm paying for it. It's not about that somebody else is paying for it. I was paying for my college. Initially, you take out a student loan, right? You take out a student loan, and but they forbid you. And you have to fill out a paperwork. Every year you have to do paperwork for your unit that you live in. And they have you sign documents. Are you going to school full time? What school are you going to? And we're going to mail this letter to the school to determine if you're going to school full time or what. To find out if you're lying. Yet this is everybody. Could you believe this? Well, again, so what if there's something with the IRS? What if this money is being channeled to descendants of the Pendar through Christopher Columbus? Why is Christopher Columbus given so much glory? We have a Columbus Circle here in New York City. And it's protected. When the riots were happening in New York in 2020, the police encircled, 2020 or 2021, the police had to stay there 24/7 to protect the statue of Columbus, Christopher Columbus. Yeah. I kid you not, people. This is a powerful man. And in his ship's logs, he states 10% of all the wealth that is obtained, that means slave labor work too, the work of slaves, 10% of what they produce is to be to his descendants. Well, Christopher Columbus didn't have any children, but he had a nephew. Those are part of his descendants. He was an older man. He died just a couple of years after his discovery, about I mean, for those who historians out there, how many years later did he die? Was it about 6 years later, 7 years later? It wasn't too far after. It wasn't too far after. So I believe that the money that's being obtained, I mean, the wealth that's being obtained in America is being funneled to somebody powerful. And what else? It might be the IRS. And you know, the IRS is linked with Britain. Follow the money and you'll follow who's behind what. I was told that the IRS is being handled by Great Britain. See, the, what do you call it? The American Revolution really wasn't a revolution. It was the illusion of freedom. But Britain says, you have to give us money. So we may not be a commonwealth of Britain, but we have to give them money through the IRS. Isn't that something, people? Let me look at your responses. Okay. Asa says the church that was created by the Jew demanded 10% as well. Yes. See how everything is related? Everything is related. The Bible talks about 10%, 10%. Christopher Columbus, 10%. Why 10%? And why isn't our money ours? What you make, you should keep. And that's where the indigenous people in Africa come in. You notice traditional Africans, they don't have like a bank. They don't have that. The African has natural law. The African has natural laws. And it helped me understand. I mean, another YouTuber was talking about it. I'm watching a lot of things on Africa. And the lady, you know, American lady, had visited Africa, West Africa, and she questioned to herself, how come Africa, how come that specific country that she went to, why things seemed very dirty, like the ground was dirty, and how the houses were built. And then she realized that the African is in touch with the planet Earth, and that to them the Earth is not dirty. They are in unison with the planet. And so, but look at here in New York City. We put this thing called cement on the ground. This pavement. It's like hard like a rock. And you know that hurts your back? You ever walk on this cement, it starts to hurt your back when you walk. These Africans don't have these back problems like Westerners. We don't have that. I mean, the African doesn't have that type of problem. The African works in unison with nature. Why do you think now they want to implement the alphabet soup community in sub-Saharan Africa? They're not pushing it on those Arabs. See, the Arab is part of the Pendar. The Arab, again, is part of the Abrahamic religion that dominated. Okay. And so they have this system to adhere to. So there are some boundaries. But they say, no, you're not going to mess with my position here. Yeah, they're not. The European doesn't try to invade. They don't try to invade Saudi Arabia, even when they were just nomadic people. Remember, these are desert people. They are nomads. They didn't have guns. Why didn't the European wipe out the Arabs? Well, I think it has to do with, what do you call it, domain. These Semitic races seem to have a domain over them that's protecting them, even when they were just little nomads living in the desert. Now they are a powerhouse. They are a powerhouse, and we are dependent on oil. There's oil in West Africa. Why don't the West Africans have that much respect, given that much respect for their oil? Because they're not of the Pendar. I think a different system controls uh, the sub-Saharan Africa people. And they're powerful. They allowed some commerce. They allowed some of them to be taken, but they did not control it like how they control the Americas. You notice that? And you notice also that with the Spaniards, when they came to the Americas, they didn't bring women. They didn't bring their wives. They knew that they were going to start a system, but they had to mix their genetics with the indigenous people there for them to program them. The indigenous, what they call Indians, were not of the same make as the Spaniards. Again, many of these Spaniards were actually Jews. Okay, they were what they call conversos. Again, Christopher Columbus was not a Spaniard. He was born in Genoa, which is now a part of Italy. But he did a deal with Spain, and they financed him. And once he got this discovery, he said 10% of all my wealth, all the wealth is going to go to my descendants. That is something. Whoever thinks like that? How could someone claim something as his and totally disrespect the lives that are living there in the Americas? And again, what's happening now in the Americas, where they have a strong identity, it seems to be called Hispanic, at least the ones that come to the United States of America, they have a separate category for them now. Don't you think that the Spaniards did that deliberately to I don't know what the right term is, but Hispanicize them, to change their identity, to think themselves as a European, just like the North African, that they were Arabicized, those African countries in North Africa, to not think themselves as an Arab and no longer an African. The same thing. The Arabs came in. They didn't really bring their wives, but they acquired women and had children with them and changed their religion and their identity. So it's the same thing that's happening. But both of them are genetically similar, because the North African, or the Moor, is related to the Spaniard, what they call Iberia. They're very strong because, again, the Moors invaded that part of Europe for 800 years, longer than America has been a nation. And America has been a nation for how many, 200 plus years? Well, Spain was invaded, and Portugal was invaded, and I think parts of France was invaded by the Moors of Africa for 800 years. So they are very strategic. They're not just doing anything just because they're bored. They have a plan, and it's done in phases. And now they are bringing people from Latin America to be infused with North America. And they're also getting people from Asia to also come in. Yeah, I think with Trump. See, Trump interfered with this game that's being played. They didn't like Trump because he wasn't in on the party. He was counter their efforts. And so they wanted him removed. And that's why they wanted Hillary, because Hillary was going to push their agenda and turn this country into a communist, socialist type of country. It's trying to change hands, rulership. And Trump said no. And so then they made up an excuse as, oh, and they used the race card. And you see all the blacks then were acting like a beehive, a hive mind. Did you notice that? Like you just say the word racism, and they act like a beehive just got kicked, and they start rioting and stuff like that. But meanwhile, Black America is still in a crisis. Where I live, a lot of them are on the street doing drugs. Nothing improved. And Trump made he announced that he was going to do the platinum plan for the African American / Black American. The platinum plan for us as a group. He didn't say the minority plan, he said the platinum plan for Black America. And they shot it down. The system shot it down, but a lot of black people are praising this new administration that's really sucking us dry. Yeah, they're not offering you anything else, black people, or other minorities, or all Americans. He's about setting up this new system of control, and they utilize that pandemic that started 2 years ago as a means to force the hand. Yeah, this new administration is not your friend. And maybe Trump might have had a potty mouth. Yeah, he always had a potty mouth. But he was trying to intercept. He wanted to bring jobs back to America. Why would a black person want to deny that? There are ghost towns because the companies went overseas. And China didn't like that. Did you know? Look at the objects. Look at the purchases you make, and look on it to see where it's made. At least in New York City, everything that you get is from China. Trump is from New York, and everything you get from New York. When you look at the label, electronics are all made in China. Everything major is made in China. And Trump said no. Bring jobs back. And look what happened. They devised the Wuhan thing, this phony crisis that started in 2020, right? Just to topple over Trump's efforts and to control the market. China is trying to invade the U.S. They are infiltrated in the schools. When you go to those top colleges, and are they supposed to, when you're a foreign student, after you graduate, you're supposed to go back home, but they're putting these people in high-paying technical jobs. Why is that? Why aren't they training the people that already live here, Black America, to go into technology, whatever? They don't want us to be in technology. They want us to be in jail. They want us to kill ourselves. And I think they want to um, harvest our organs and sell on the market. I know it sounds horrible. Doesn't it sound horrible? Yeah. Why are they making us kill each other? Well, if you kill someone, you can take their organs and sell it on the market. Okay, foreign students don't ever. Okay, I'm reading ASA. Foreign students don't even pay for schooling or housing when American students pay and get into life debt. Oh, really? Okay, he also says, have you watched the movie The Exorcist? Yes. You will see the statue of the reptile man, which hexes the American archaeologists in the Middle East. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Okay, I saw it as a child. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. See how things are? Yeah, I want to read that again. Have you watched the movie The Exorcist? You will see the statue of the reptile man which hexes the American archaeologists in the Middle East. Wow. Wow. Interesting. See that? That is something else. See, there are rituals and stuff that are being done, and I think there are portals, and they needed to obtain, because again, I'm sure Columbus was an initiate. He was an initiate. I'm pretty sure of that. And there's the movie called, oh, what's the name? Oh, I forget the name. Oh, something's Creed. Something Creed. It's a fighting thing. It's a really good movie. Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed. I love that movie. I mean, yes, it's filled with a lot of physical violence, but I like it for historical. See, again, it focused on Spain again and about genetics, and that Columbus, it finds out, has access to this what they call the apple of creation. And these two faction groups, the assassins and oh, I forget the other group, but they're two opposing groups, and they both want this device that um, controls human will. And so they trace the genetics. They believe that they have this science, according to the movie, this science where people, um, well, the descendants of the assassins, a group called the Assassins, um, that their blood descendants, you might be able to find this artifact by clicking on the genetics memory of these descendants. And so this opposing group is seeking out the DNA of these people. Like, let's say you commit a crime and your blood gets, in a database. They have access to the database. And when they find a match, they go kidnap them. And then they hook them up on this machine. And they're able to do genetic memory and see through the eyes of this particular assassin who was the last person known to have this device. And that's what the movie's about. It is fantastic. Yes, it has a tremendous violence in it, but it is fantastic in the sense that of the science. What if that device actually exists? They have a machine that taps into your genetic memories. of your ancestors and you see through their eyes. It's amazing. I don't think it's science fiction. I think it's real. That's science. And so they're able to get the device. Yes, science, why they're about these people. Because these people have genetic memories. It's like a program. People are programs. And it's all about the same agenda. Okay, Sasson. Next time you walk by the Dakota building, stop and look at the black railing that surrounds the building with the face and the dragons around them. Yeah. Yeah, I think you told me that before. Yeah, and it was in the movie. Yeah, Rosemary's Baby. Yeah, you're the one that told me about Rosemary's Baby. I saw it as a kid, when I was a little kid, at home. It came on TV. I bought it. I bought the movie, it could have been earlier this year, and I watched it. I had no idea it was about the Dakota. I mean, it took place in the Dakota where John Lennon had his last days. And yes, it has the dragon. Amazing. See how things are related? Everything is related. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Yeah, so the money, as I was saying with the IRS, the monies are being laundered into hands of people that you want to. What is your link here? I mean, what's your responsibility here? You're from a different place, but they're all connected. They own it. You don't pay your taxes, they're coming after you. Wesley Snipes. You know what I found out was Wesley Snipes, the actor. Now they said that at first I heard that he didn't do his taxes, but it turns out that he did his taxes, but he did, I think, a short form, and he was due money back. He was due a lot of money back, and they said because he didn't fill out the long form that they're going to arrest him. Could you imagine? Just haven't paid what he didn't owe any money. He didn't owe any money, but because I think again, a black person uh, asserting his rights, and they're saying, "Who are you to question the system?" See that? Yeah, it also seems to be a movement now. I know. I mean, the more you watch, the more the algorithms of YouTube is going to refer to you different um, videos. And I'm watching a lot of videos on certain countries. And oh, what's that now? But yeah, certain things. It seems to be a trend now. There seems to be a trend, and people are saying enough is enough, and they want to leave America. Did you know that some countries are giving, based on your genetics, again, genetics, citizenships slash a passport? Yeah. You're able to prove if you take this DNA kit, it has to be this specific one, African DNA company, and you take it, and if you're, according to them, that if your mitochondrial DNA or paternal DNA indicates from their country that you get um, citizenship and a passport. Well, it seems like, again, I think part of it, I'm not going to say the name of the country that I think is just doing it for money. Because see, this one place, they'll allow you come into the country, but they won't give you citizenship. They say, oh, you have the right of return, but you can't stay here, but you can build here. So it just seems more like tourism and a quick buck. And so I don't have much respect for that country as a result of that. I mean, I'm sure the people are fine, but the government, it just sounds a little like they're being pimped, the people. But there's some countries, they give you citizenship. They have a whole ceremony, and they have the president of that particular country swear you in. And they hand you your new passport. So it looks like, see, if a lot of black people want to leave America, do their exodus, see, we have a right to leave. Anybody, black person in the Americas, it's not just the U.S. Most of us were sent to South America and then the Caribbean, numbers wise. A very few number had went to North America. But see, we have a right of return. We really do. And so if you leave your workforce, if your workforce leaves, that could topple a nation. If enough of us in America leaves, it could leave America very vulnerable. But I think the U.S. has something else up its sleeve. They just say, oh, we'll just bring in people from Latin America or Asia. They'll get the Latin Americans to do the dirty work, the grunge work, and use the Asians for the technical jobs and give them money. But some of us want to leave. Some of us are saying, I had enough. But I think it's all by design to what happened with, the past 2 years and the people, like George Floyd. I think it was all by design to piss certain people off. And you notice something else that I find out when you watch these channels that are visiting a lot of these exotic countries in Africa. And I'm glad that he specified that he's a member of a fraternity. Hello, people. Hello. Let me talk about that. Let me talk about that. These fraternities, sororities are worldwide. I thought they were just in America. Well, I used to also live in the Caribbean, and I met some of them in the Caribbean, and they were very horrible people. Treacherous, some of these people. I never met such disgusting people in my life. And they're also in Africa. And so this guy, now I was new to his channel, just maybe a week now, less than a week. And he shared. I just heard this yesterday. I think it was. Yeah, I think it was yesterday. And he shared that. Yeah, he was talking about the slave dungeons on the west coast of Africa. And he said that he belongs to a fraternity, and they branded his chest. Did you know branding is used for ownership? And that the people who were kidnapped in Africa, that they too were branded on various parts of their body. Well, I do know of someone who got branded for his fraternity. Okay. He's a slave for life for that organization, that fraternity. Why would a black an alleged black organization, knowing history, because I'm sure these black Americans that are in these fraternities know Black history, and many of them go to Black colleges, those, what do you call it, historically Black colleges. I'm sure for them to be there, that they'll know certain things in Black history and that Blacks were branded. So why brand yourself now to an organization, and you know that the money that you give these, yeah, these organizations, these fraternities, you have to pay membership dues. And that membership dues, guess where it goes? It goes to the Pendar. That money that those people, that those Black organizations that you think supposed to represent you, that money is not going in the Black community. That money is being funneled into white organizations slash ultimately to the ruling reptile groups that control and try to destroy Black America and Blacks around the planet. How foolish for you to go and get branded. What else are they going to have you do? Why would you do that? Why such a stringent law? You have a right to join and unjoin an organization. Because sometimes we outgrow. It's like clothing. Let's say you're 12 years old. You think by the time you reach 15, you're going to wear the same size? It's okay to grow and change and move on. But see, it's a slave system. And they're saying, you belong us for life. So even if you leave, people are going to know who you were worked under. Ownership. You know what else I realized with all this? I shared this information before. I used to be in the military. And I remember when my recruiter was asking me what my religion was. And at that time, the first time I ever talked to a recruiter, he kept asking me what my religion was. So I said, I'm an atheist. Yeah, I initially started out as an atheist, and then I became a Christian, and now I'm just a seeker of truth. I believe that there is a high intelligence out there, but not like how the Bible talks about it. But yeah, I believe in nature, being one with nature. But yeah, what happened? I was in the, I was being asked these questions. And when I told him that I was an atheist, he said, no, we have to write down something here. You have to tell us which one that you belong to. Because they didn't have anything for atheists. Well, it dawned on me. It dawned on me, this is essential, people. Ownership. This all has to do with ownership. And when you die, don't you notice when you die and they put you in a coffin, they put a marker on that um, tombstone or on that coffin? If you're Jew, you get a star. If you're Christian, they wear a cross. And if you're Muslim, they put um, that the moon. What was that? The crescent moon and the sun, something like that, right? That detects ownership. Who can claim your body? Who can claim your soul? They are claiming you even when you die. Who can claim you energetically? And I had an incident, because I also share this because I had an incident. Now, I eventually did join. And I had an experience on the ship. I met someone uh, that presented an idea to me, and I was thinking about leaving Christianity and just do my thing. And I was challenged spiritually. I mean, it was just a thought that went in my head.
It was just a thought that went in my head. That's all. I never talked to anybody about it. It was just a thought. I said, hey, so and so told me about such and such. Hey, maybe I don't have to follow the Bible. And that's all it took. And I felt something as if, I know it sounds bizarre, as if something energetically left my body. And then the feeling of loss came over my psyche. And I think that was the beginning of the attack. And then I started to get nightmares. Now, I was reading my Bible, and then I started to get an aversion with the Bible. And I was getting these anxiety attacks that I never had before. And then I fell asleep. I would get these nightmares. And one of the nightmares that I had was of a white man wearing a super white skin with jet black hair and a very black goatee, and he was wearing a black suit and a white shirt. Like in the movie that Lisa Bonet was in. What's that name? You know that movie with that she was in. I forget the name, but some of you will know. Lisa Bonet was in this movie in 1987. That outfit that man wore was in my dream. Not that that man was in my dream. Uh, I didn't see the movie until later because that movie came out in 1987 or 88, and I was in the military then. And it's when I think, coming back from overseas, um, that they, because you're able to see movies in the military, on the ship. I lived on the ship, and we had people who were in charge of, like entertainment on the ship, and a TV, and they select movies for you, and that was one of the movies they showed. But I'm pretty sure that that movie I saw after my experience, because I would have said, hey, that looks like what the guy was wearing in that movie, but I didn't. And I thought it was trying to hurt me. This man, he had his left hand up in the air in a fist, and I thought he wanted to punch me. So I said, in the name of Jesus, I rebuke you, something like that. Something like that, I said. And he looked at me in fear, and terror was in his eyes. And then he kind of like, he slowly started to put his hand down. He was afraid. And then I woke up. That dream never came back again. But after that, I did talk to a Christian on the ship, an older person, and I said, I'm being. Someone told me something, and I'm really confused about my faith. So she said, and she was really simple, and I appreciate her. She said, well, if you weren't confused before, and you're confused now, God is not a God of confusion. And that's all she said. And I thanked her. And so I decided then to stick with Christianity. But why I share this story is because about ownership. What was happening was a spiritual warfare, and that when I mentally challenged my one to leave this new religion, I was into Christianity, that the spiritual forces there quickly came to, I think, try to recruit me through fear. And so that didn't work. But I realized that everything is about ownership and control. Who owns you? Who controls you? Ask yourself, did you ever have a temptation of, hey, I want to change, I'm thinking about this religion or something that's totally against your paradigm. You too may face this challenge because it is a warfare over who's going to control your energy body, your soul. And why I say this is there's another organization called Farsight Institute. They do remote viewing, and I shared this information before. And they have remote viewed what happens when you die. And according to their studies, that there is a machine that's like a grid that's surrounding the planet. And when an individual dies, their soul, or whatever what you want to call it, goes to the grid and they get zapped. They could first come along to make them look like, make the visitation look like someone that they knew in the past. And once they go and follow these people that they think they know, they lead them to a trap and they get zapped and their memory is forgotten and they get recycled / reincarnation. Yeah, that's what that organization talked about. It's called Far Sight Institute, and they're on YouTube. And I watched their stuff, and they have a website that's a paid prescription, and you're able to uh, pay monthly, and you can see the special shows they had, special investigations they did, such as that one about what happens when you die, called The Death Trap. And I think that's true because why is in the military, they want you to make a decision what religion you're going to be branded under. It is branding you into owners who's going to own you when you die, your soul. So it's like a contract. People. It is a soul contract when you put down what religion you are. Because if something happens to you, that system can control you and take your soul for recycling how they want you to. And when I told that recruiter that I didn't belong to any religion, they got angry with me. Why would you get angry? Well, because they want ownership. And in the military, it's all about contract. You are signing over your being. When you sign a contract in the military to join the military, you're saying that they own you now. They own you. And when you die, which recycling bin are you going to go into? Which Abrahamic religion, basically, you belong to? Well, do you know also during that time, there was an officer, and he was a practicing Satanist. He was a Satanist, and he served in the U.S. military. I think he was also in the Navy, like I was. And by law, they couldn't do anything against him because of freedom of religion. So yes, he was protected. But what if they recruit in the military? What if I was assigned people? We're given shots, and maybe they're able to track our thoughts. I didn't tell anybody what I thought. I was a very quiet person back then. It was just a thought that came in my mind. That was it. And that's all it took. What if that they say, okay, we're going to single in on this woman, and they try to scare me for about a week, I think it was. Yeah, this spiritual warfare is real, people. Again, I didn't do drugs, anything like that. Always sound mind. This warfare exists. It's an invisible war, but they work behind the scenes. And they have a network. And that's what these fraternities and sororities are all about. That's what it's all about. To get in your business, to find out what secrets you're doing. They're in black neighborhoods, and they set up shop. And they say, oh, it's just a community center. No, it's not a community center. You want to know who's dying, who's doing what, and you want to get in their business to control and to find out who is the new um, leader. Remember, what was that guy's name? Remember when Martin Luther King came into power, and the letters that came out, that they said they don't want any more Messiah figures coming out in the black community. Well, they're using these sororities and fraternities to find out who's being what leader. They're not your friends, people. They are not your friends. Why aren't they helping the black people on the street where I live? You had ones a couple of years ago, someone giving out sandwiches. Well, how come they're not trying to clothe these guys and, hey, buddy, you can join one of our organizations and we clean you up and work with us? But that's not what's happening. Yeah, they're selective who they want in their organizations because they're not about the race. They are about control. They are about control. So I did mention a lot of things, and they're all interrelated. They are all interrelated, what I talk about. They don't seem related. These riots and stuff, religion, they don't seem related. The reptile or the what do you call it? Yeah, the dragon, they're all related. Let me read. Yeah, angel heart. Yeah, angel heart. Yeah, that was, yeah, angel heart. I saw that man. I mean, I saw an archetype of that man. I didn't know about things like that. I lived a very quiet life, but I saw it. Okay. Okay, let me read your thing. It says, um, if you don't mind, I want to send you a couple of documentaries to watch via your email. Okay, I just sent you another email. If you find the time, watch the video about Pazuzu. Pazuzu. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll take a look, definitely. Definitely. And again, my videos is not, okay, I know I talked about a lot of controversial things. I talked about the women's rights. I talked about the genetics and intelligence of certain demographics. This video is not designed to offend anybody's lifestyle, religion, ethnicity. I'm just noticing patterns that happen and how they may be related to current events. That's all what it's about. This things that's happening is global, and they're against everybody. So regardless of your religion, race, nationality, gender, they're against everybody. They are against everybody. And yeah, they're now using these celebrities. Now, as I mentioned, wasn't it Dave Chappelle? Oh, almost forgot. That guy, that guy that allegedly attacked Chappelle. He's a rapper that did a video, a music thing about Dave Chappelle, and he alludes to the place where he had gotten attacked, the ball. Yeah, so it seems like, to me, it seems like a program that alleged attacker on Dave Chappelle was programmed, and he did the video, music video, something like that, or lyrics regarding him and about the venue where the attack took place. Okay, and this was done in 2020. How could he know in 2020 about 2022? And then you look at him closely, what he was wearing. He was wearing something that said Hollywood. The shirt that said Hollywood. Okay, so that's a program. And what else did he? He was in a photo of him standing on top of a police car, and his clothes. He's wearing two different color sneakers, one black and one white, I think it was. And one pants leg was down and the other one was rolled up partly. So he's saying he's a Mason. Remember in one of the initiations, some of your clothes is half on and half off, right? And I think he had horns on, horns and blood come out of his nose. Well, what happened to him? He got beat up after he allegedly attacked Dave Chappelle. Staff there uh, beat him up, and oh yeah, what I was going to say with the Netflix, like like it was called something, that show he had was like a show against Netflix. Now I'm just throwing an idea. What if that corporation knew what his show was going to be about and triggered that guy to attack him? That guy had a knife on him. He had a knife. Go on the internet and look what he's wearing, the alleged attacker. He has the Hollywood thing on, and then he had like his pants leg, one down, one up, and one black and one white. That's all about duality and masonry. And he's only 23. Isn't that number 23 supposed to represent something, people? Does the number 23 represent something? Look on those of you into numerology. Look up what the number 23 represents, if any of you know. Yeah, it means it could mean something. Oh, also we're getting. I talked about this too the other day. We're getting. Oh, what's that? I think they call it Secretary of State. A black lady who is of the alphabet soup people. See that they only want to hire people who like eating that type of soup. If you like tomato soup, they don't want people like tomato soup or chicken noodle soup, but this alphabet soup, that's the requirement now. Because they don't want you to reproduce. Why is that? And again, they're getting a black lady because, see, if you say criticize her, you just call them a racist. That's what it's all about. They don't love you. They don't love black people. If the proof is in the pudding. Look at all in New York City. All these, they're not hiring black people in these positions. At least black men. If you're a straight black man, they're not going to hire you. But if you love your alphabet soup, you get rewarded. And I have a problem with that. I have a problem with saying no to alpha men. Who's going to protect the community? Their wives. It's unfair attack. Okay, let me see this. Dave better make sure that man didn't jab him with a needle. Oh, very good point. Very good point. Yeah, he had his body was covered, Dave. But you got a point. He got hit very hard. Isn't it something, Acer? Remember, made mention to this many times when I got attacked last November. I got physically attacked. And they said it's not considered an assault. So initially, with Dave Chappelle, they said that's not considered an assault either. And then now they're saying a felony, because he had a weapon on him. Now, I don't think the weapon was brandished on him. He might have had. I think they said his weapon was in his duffel bag or something that was in his seat. It was in a duffel bag. He didn't have it on him at the attack. But they said it's considered. They first initially said it's considered. Oh, what do you call it? Oh God, I forget the name now. What they called it. I forget the name. Those who know what they initially called it, the cops. But with me, you know what they called the attack that happened to me? They said, oh, it's harassment. That lady could have stopped my heart from beating. She hit me in where my heart was. And I was in severe pain. Could you imagine? He could have died on stage. I think that man was sent out deliberately to assassinate him. Yeah, that's what I think. In my humble opinion, I think that was either a warning or to kill him, because he was mocking something with the name. It was like a mockery of Netflix. Horrible if they did that. See that? People are being programmed. People are being programmed, and they can psycho. I mean, he had something in 2020 about Dave Chappelle. Why not? I mean, that's so young. Okay. 23, 2 times 3 is 6.6 is the number of the beast. See that? There you go. There you go. I knew it had to do with something. 23. Yeah. 6 is man's number. Yeah. Yeah. 23 years old. And Dave Chappelle is 46. Dave Chappelle is 46. What does 46 mean? See, that's something about 40. Yeah, I think, yeah, does anyone know what the significance of the number 46? Dave Chappelle is 46 years old. I think it was they wanted to, I don't know, maybe, the fact that the knife was in a bag, I don't know. It could have just been a warning. It could have just been a warning. And what else they said with the alleged attacker, that he used Trump as an excuse, like he was acting like, according to this alleged thing he wrote, that he was a pro-Trumper. So now they're going to try to imply that pro-Trumpers is that Trump is the cause. They want to try to promote that he's a cause for the attack. So they're just trying to tarnish Trump's name. Now, you don't have to like Trump, but for the politics now to try to tarnish his using black on black crime and then blame Trump again. He had nothing to do with this. And again, the guy, I don't swallow that he's a pro-Trumper. Not to generalize. He's wearing all gothic outfit. He's wearing all black and like satanic. He had these horns, and his fingernails were painted black. And I never seen a Trump supporter dressed like gothic like that. So I think it's just to smear his name. See, they're sneaky. They're sneaky people, and they're hoping that you'll fall for it. See, you don't have to like particular politicians. You don't have to. A lot of them are real obnoxious and stuff like that, but they're trying to fool you. They want you to react, and they want Black America to react. Don't do it. Don't do any acts of violence against anybody. Stay at home, relax, enjoy, have a cup of tea or something. They want you to react so they can pass these new laws to control you. And then they'll reward you if you are a member of certain new lifestyles here in New York City or on the planet. Yeah, not everybody who gives you anything free is your friend. Not anyone who just wants to give you something free. It's for a reason. They are not your friend. Yeah, they're not your friend. That would have been awful because I mean, um, I don't really watch these comedians, but of course I watch YouTube, and sometimes some of these what do you call it celebrities are discussed, so I can't help but notice when they come on. Oh, you notice what else? This I thought was interesting. After uh, Chappelle was attacked, he he kept the humor up, and one of the what's his name, Chris Rock, came on stage. He had two other people. He had Jimmy Fox and I think his name Jamie Fox. Jamie Fox came on stage, and then right after that, this other guy, Chris Rock, came on stage, and Chris Rock says to Chappelle, um, "Hey, something about Will? Do you think that was Will Smith? Something like that?" And use Will Smith's name. Could you believe that? I think he's through, Will Smith. He's after that, after this attack, and then Chris Rock throwing in the joke. Oh, what about Chris? What do you call it? Will something about Will Smith? Yeah, go. Did any of you see that? Did any of you see what Chris Rock said when he used Will Smith's name? Now, I did enjoy Will Smith's acting. I mean, his movies in the past. And I have some of his movies that I've watched. I like Enemy of the State. Yeah, I enjoyed his movies. I don't know why. I think Will Smith was being programmed. I think he was being programmed, um, and I think he was embarrassed because look at his. I mean, the whole thing was supposedly because the wife has alopecia. The wife, look, if you look closely at her head, she has a full set of hair, but it's just shaven. She has, it looks like thick hair, but it's shaven low. That's it. It's like, it's not bald. I saw earlier, just a couple of days, someone with real alopecia. The hair was cut very short, like a quarter of an inch, and you see these big bald spots throughout the head. They had dark hair and a pale scalp, and you saw all those patches. She doesn't have that. She might have thinning, but we're all getting older, right, ladies? And when you get older, your hair is not as full. And it's just overkill. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Um, yes. Yeah. Will Smith was shamed by his wife. See, it's this hyper aggressive female. See, I'm a woman, but there's nothing wrong about being feminine. There's nothing wrong being feminine, and there's nothing wrong for a man to be masculine, but they're switching the roles. And the roles are to divide and conquer between the sexes. They don't want men and women to have children anymore. I mean, whether you want children, that's your business. But when they're designing to confuse the roles between men and women, they're confusing you. And when they're confused, then they could control you. Oh, that's interesting what you're saying. The smack was meant for his wife and not Chris. Interesting. Is it true that they're divorcing? Are they divorcing? That would be interesting. Are the two divorcing? Yeah, I really I am surprised. I mean, I really do enjoy um, Will Smith movies. I really enjoy him in the conspiracy theory. What was that? Enemy of the State. I'm sorry, Enemy of the State. I have that, and I have another movie of him. But I see that Hollywood is, you know, I don't know, some things were getting kind of odd. Yeah, and the movie that he got the award in, he wasn't that good in it. He really wasn't that good. It wasn't. I mean, I bought the movie, the Williams, what do you call it, King Richard. I do have that. I like biographies, but he really wasn't that good. But he was good in Enemy of the State. He was good in when he played Muhammad Ali. He was very good at that. But see, now Hollywood is only rewarding you for things you don't really deserve if you follow the narrative. He was following the narrative. And so they rewarded him. Yeah, because remember before Chris Rock um, made mention in 2016, the wife, Jada Pinkett, had she boycotted. They wanted people to boycott the Oscars, and then he what do you call it? He emceed that awards ceremony, and he outed Jada that she something to the effect that she wasn't even invited. So how could she say, "Oh, we're gonna boycott"? And she wasn't invited, and her husband had gotten 20 million for a movie. So why even boycott something? It's something. He had a good point. He had a good point. So they're going to reward him with an Oscar, something he did not deserve. And then a joke is said at the wife. I don't know. It's just so bizarre. So bizarre. Yeah. Yeah. Their children are alphabet soup people too. Yeah, I stick with my tomato soup and chicken noodle soup. I like a classic. But whatever what type of food you like to eat or drink, that is your business. That is your prerogative. But now to say that I cannot have a certain type of job or live in a certain place, they reward each other. Yeah, it's horrible. 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 Let me think. Anything else I wanted to say? I know I got the majority of things out the way. Oh, I remember I was saying about the people who belong to sororities or fraternities, they're being used. Yeah. So that person I was watching this person, and he announced he was visiting a slave port on West Africa, and then he shared with the person that, because they were talking about they would be that the people back in those days were being branded, and then he shared, well, I belong to a fraternity, and they branded me too. You can't unbrand yourself. And yeah, the point of my mention about the branding, it's about ownership, that they control his soul. You don't ever get out of those organizations. And they brand you so that you're seen everywhere you go. You want to go to bathe, that you go to a pool, they're going to see that you belong to a particular thing. And that could be a death sentence to you. You don't get branded. Don't get it, because it's just to show you control. And again, people change over time. What's important to you when you're 20 years old, when you're 45, you don't think the same. But you're carrying that same brand, that branded chest or arm. It's not fair. You become a slave permanently. And I'm just saying, think twice. Yeah, they use emotionalism to attract these young people in these organizations, but your money is going, and it's not going into your community. It's going to the system that you claim that you want to fight against. That's what it's being go. That's what is going being brought, and the church also. The church. You notice there's so many churches in the black community, and I talked about this also in my past videos. The church is a signaling device. You notice on the church it has a steeple. I think you call it steeple. That pointy thing, that's an antenna. That is an antenna. And when you sing praises slash energy, they are feeding off of it. And nothing more passionate than a bunch of black people in the black community. We're very passionate. I mean, I've gone to these black churches. I was a member of many of them. The Baptist churches, the Pentecostals. I was members of these things. And you notice how long they sing and sing and sing. You're there for hours. You go to a white church. Let's say a white Catholic church. I think the maximum time is 2 hours maximum. It could be 1 hour, but it could also be 2. I forget. And nothing really changes. But you go to a black church, a poor church, and they're there all day, gathering your energy, and they pass the plate many times. And then they insult you and say that you need to give more. How dare they tell you that? So they take your soul, they take your money and your time and your energy. And you sing because they are gathering your energy, feeding off of that energy. And what you're doing is being broadcast. Those things are broadcasters. Why did they say in church, sing praises to the Lord? How could the Lord hear your praises? He's not physically there. Well, maybe he is. Through that antenna. Look at most churches. They have a steeple. And they're feeding off, these creatures are feeding off of your praises. And they want you all upset so you can give out more negative energy. Yeah. I mean, if you want to do what you do it. But just know why you're doing it. And if you're going to serve a God, this is just my opinion. If you're going to serve a God, shouldn't that God be doing something for you, you're going to serve a God and He's not putting wealth in your pocket, but He's putting wealth in other people's pocket. You start to ask questions. You better start making demands over your God. Say, hey, wait a minute. I go to church 3 days a week, 4 days a week. I go, I spend all day. I give my tithes and offering, and I'm in poverty. And so-and-so's church, they're only there for 1 hour, and they pass the bucket only once, and they have a lot of money, and they live in big houses. Start demanding from your God and remind them, hey, so-and-so is getting more than I am. I'm going to join their religion. Yeah. Start asking questions. You have a right to ask questions. Ask questions. Like that YouTuber told me, you want to open up your pineal gland, start to ask questions. Ask questions. Respectfully, start asking yourself questions. Yeah, these people, it's a network. This planet is a network. And they control everything. And they're doing it. So you're hearing all those people, remember, people talking about being a targeted individual, and they have implants in their body. I believe that. I believe that. I think what they did to me in the military, that they put something in me. I know it sounds bizarre, but why you always see, you hear these, someone going postal? What does it mean by postal? Why did they go postal? This is part of the, they might have implanted something in them, and they can trigger people. And I think that person that allegedly attacked Dave Chappelle was triggered to do just what he did. And they might squash the news. It happened a couple of days ago. Okay. Are they going to really say anything more about him? We'll see. Okay. They also use sex to join these fraternities and in churches. You have to date within the church. Yes, good point. That's a very, very good point. Very good point. Yeah, they use women in particular to recruit men in the church. And the women entice some of the guys, or I can't date you unless you become a member of my church. Oh yeah, I've heard of that. Oh yeah. Yeah. And that lady, I mean, I don't want to use her name. I used to belong to this church, as I mentioned in the early in this live stream. I'm not going to give the name, but it's right here in the city, not too far from where I live. Oh, almost like a mile away from where I live, and it's a major church. And she was a member of it around the time I was a member, and they try to recruit her sexually. I was shocked. I was shocked. And they're Masons in that church. I didn't, it just some certain, it just, some things didn't sit right with me. Yeah. So I think it was on long enough. Have to get my day going. Yeah, I'm not gonna go outside. It's raining. Yeah, it rained on me yesterday. Yeah, and it's a weekend. I'll probably watch movies. Acer, if you're still on, I'll take a look at the emails, and I'll investigate some of the recommendations that you shared with me. Yeah, this was a fun video, and yes, I mentioned earlier in this video about the vision that I saw. Today's theme seemed to be about water, that I was at an ocean, that I saw an ocean, sand and the beach, and that when I look down, you see water, clear water, and a waterfall. It was really interesting. Yeah, these are possibly parallel universes, parallel universes that we are in. This is a parallel world, and we could possibly be living different existence at the same time. It's just which one is in our focus. But it's happening right now, all these other things. It's really interesting. And I think I might do mirror gazing, people. Yeah, days like this, I feel very cozy, and I'm really, I'm at a crossroad in my life, and I'm seeking direction. And I think today would be a great day for me to go within and get answers. Yeah. So I thank you again. And those of you who like this content and wish to support my channel, you could PayPal me. Um, Go to my channel, Spirit Journey. That's the name of my channel. And on the banner's right-hand side, you'll see my PayPal me link. Just click on the link and follow the prompt. Any amount would be greatly, greatly appreciated. Yes. And I'm definitely going to be needing money if I want to leave New York. Yeah. Things here in New York City is getting more and more hectic. Oh, I mentioned the other day, um, more, oh, there was a rapper. There was a rap artist. Two people got um, assassinated in Manhattan. Remember the guy, what's his name? Run DMC? That was like 20 years ago. Remember that guy on Run DMC? One of them was murdered in his music studio in Queens. Well, a similar murder occurred one day ago, about 1 or 2 days ago. And he was shot in the head. And then there was someone on the sidewalk, outside of the building, and he was shot in the back. So 2 dead bodies, not far from where I live. Yeah, people are out of whack. People are crazy here. Oh, there was also in Brooklyn. There was a 13-year-old boy who got raped. Oh no, they said excuse me. They said sexually assaulted. That's the word they used. Sexually assaulted a 13-year-old boy in Brooklyn. People are crazy. I don't want to stay here, people. People are out. I mean, whoever thought? I mean, I know that males could be violated, but man, now it's just so brazen. Yeah, people are being triggered, and everything here is being socially engineered. And yes, I need to save up money. I generally don't ask people for money on my channel, but yeah, everything with my channel is free. You don't even have to sign up for anything to have complete access to my videos. But things are really getting tight here. And I'm a little scared. Yeah, when I got attacked by that crazy lady in November, and when the cops said that what she did is not considered an assault, but just harassment. And when they said, well, where's the blood? Where's the blood? Really nasty. I'm the one that called the cop over. I got attacked in the middle of the street. And then I found a cop that was across the street. I summoned him and I pointed the lady out. And then 3 other cops joined in to subdue this lady. They treated this lady like she was God. and they treated me like I was the perpetrator. I called them over. This lady assaulted me. I want to press charges and have her. I said? I want her arrested and this other thing, prosecuted. And he starts yelling at me. Could you believe that? I was the victim, and this is how I'm treated. Yeah, they treated her really nice. They had her in the ambulance before I was, and I was the victim. So people, yeah, I want if I do I want to move if I can, and I really want to find something safe for me and my little dogs. That's essential. My little babies come with me. See, that's one of them right there. That's my little girl Lily, right behind the covers there. She's my little girl, and I can't go anywhere without her. She sleeps with me. She keeps me calm, and yeah, it's not it's I mean it's dangerous for people out here. I love my city, but it's dangerous. The subways for me to go visit my family uh, in Queens, it's dangerous. It's dangerous, and I don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk going on the train. And here, when I got attacked by that lady, I purposely didn't take mass transit to avoid the subway. And I arrived safely, and when I was leaving the appointment, that's when the attack happened. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So those of you who have compassion, whatever amount that your heart leads you to do, because I have to bring me and my 3 dogs. It's going to be expensive to move. If I move, I want to move a year from now. My lease is up in March, the end of March. So that's when I want to leave. So by April 1st, I want to be at my new location, and wherever where I go, it's going to cost me money for me to bring myself, some of my belongings, and my 3 babies. Lily, Lilac, and Lavender. Yeah, I have 3 little dogs, a Havanese, a Pekingese, and a Shih Tzu. Those of you who are dog lovers, who want to help me out, and a love offering that will be used to help support myself and my little babies. I greatly appreciate it. Yeah, I asked for a miracle in this situation. It's a horrible feeling to be a woman, be any human being, and not be protected by the system that I profess. I'm a supporter of the police force. But after this, I'm not a supporter of evil. Evil is what evil does. I'm taught you do your job and go home. And that's all it is. But now it's not about just doing your job. It's another agenda. And I'm really sad about it. I love my country. I love New York City, but it's not showing me love back. It's not loving me back the way I need it. you know, it's not. So yeah, those of you who have a heart, you know, whatever what your heart tells you to do, would be greatly appreciated. I always enjoy these live streams with you. Sometimes I don't know exactly how these live streams are gonna come out. I say I'm gonna talk about A, B, and C, and I talk also in addition about yeah, um, X, Y, and Z. But that's what makes it more enjoyable for me. I enjoy this doing these live streams, and yeah, this is a spirit journey that I'm on, and um, yeah, we all have to work out their own life, their sense of meaning. It's a personal one. Each one of us have our own personal um, understanding of their own spirituality. Oh, okay, let me look. I almost missed these messages here. Let me see it now. Okay, the rapper Tupac was shot on 37th Street as well in a music studio. Oh wow, okay. Oh wow, I'm in the same situation. I must move, praying for a miracle. Yeah. Oh, okay, Mary. Okay, Roses. Okay, Miss Vine and Roses. Yeah. Okay, I remember you. I remember you. Yes. Good morning, Roses. Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. I moved the camera. Oh, got blurry. Yeah, it's good to hear from you. Yeah, you're in the same situation. I forget Roses. I forget what state you're in. Well, you're in New York, Jersey. I forget. I think you told me. If you feel comfortable to share, what state or country are you in? Yeah, this is. Oh, okay, Florida. Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah, it's. I gotta move. I mean, if I stay, um, I mean, I don't I want to I want the freedom. I want the freedom to walk around. I mean, it's just getting out of hand. Yeah. So yeah, I'll like to pray on your behalf also. I want to do my mirror gazing, and I'll give a prayer also to the universe to open up opportunities for you. Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, thank you, Roses. I enjoy them also. Yeah, I have a very quaint channel. I'm not a, I've never been a big person, you know. I do this because it was my means of expressing myself. I'm not a big YouTuber, but I still have feelings, and I use this platform to express myself, just to get it off my chest. Yeah, thank you so much, Roses. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, this is a good day for all of us. I want to put that out there. I want the best for all of us. Yeah, see, we come on here, and the viewers that come to my channel, we're all seekers. We all know that there's something different out there, that we've always been different. And it's okay to be different. And it's also okay to stand your ground. And you're not alone. You are not alone. I thank you all for watching. And be safe, be sound. And let's pray for one another. We all need it. Yeah. Yeah, we're all seekers. Yeah. I attract a small group of people who are in generally a little different, but we're inquisitive and we like to ask questions. We like to ask questions. Keep on asking questions and find your own liberation. Okay? Thank you again. So, this is Spirit Journey, and I'm signing off. Have a great Saturday morning. Okay? Bye bye.